Today on the Topic Show, Mulvaney Days of Girlhood song debuts, Vivek on TikTok banned being a Trojan horse, England bans puberty blockers, Under Armour founder comes back to the company as CEO, Family Dollar parent company to close 1,000 stores, and Family Dollar pays a fine for having rats in their warehouse. All of that and much more on the Topping Show. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in today. Today's episode of Topping Show is proudly sponsored by Topping Technologies. Topping Technologies is an IT value-added reseller and services company with a special proficiency in IT security. Heck, I see their founder at least twice a day. Gotta say he's quite handsome and brilliant. He's me, you see, that's the joke. If you're an IT leader or a business owner, you can reach the team at sales@toppingtechnologies.com. Also, trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month, so if you could click that button and tell your friends, I would greatly appreciate it. Now, going over to the business part of the podcast, you have Under Armour founder coming back as CEO. Now, perhaps one of the most appropriate names possible for the founder of an apparel or athletic apparel company. His name is Kevin Plank, which, granted, not humble brag, but I can do a 6-minute plank on medicine ball, which, ironically enough, I wear a suit every day, so no one really know. But nevertheless, his name is Kevin Plank, and he's returning to CEO. And then you will also have Mohammed El Arain going to be named board chair. Now, of course, this means the current CEO stepping down. Her name is Stephanie Linares, and it looks like not too good of a tenure in terms of she only lasted a year, which, again, is kind of an outlier for CEOs. You want to have a little bit more tenure than that, especially when you start to see CEOs kind of moved out cyclical, where it's just a new CEO every single year. That's when a lot of the investors, a lot of people start to get nervous because it's not a good sign. Now, it looks like Linares took over as Under Armour CEO in February 2023 after spending nearly 30 years at Marriott International. So, yeah, that was the gal they hired. She spent 30 years at Marriott International. They're a hotel company, in case you weren't aware. And then they thought, you know what? She could probably do clothing too. Now, again, there are some skills that obviously will transfer over, but when I first, I think we actually reported on this about a year ago, that was definitely an interesting pick to say the least. Now, they note that Plank founded Under Armour back in 1996. He actually stepped down as CEO about 4 years earlier, but stayed on the company as the chairman. Now, they note that Linares, she will stay on the company as an advisor through the end of April. Now, it'll be interesting to see how they can turn the company around. Again, the stock hasn't done terribly. Now, granted, of course, compared to the competition, which not quite a monopoly, but when you think athletic apparel and you look at the market share, overwhelming Nike is one of the largest brands and largest market shares, bar none. Now, granted, by the time this video is rendered and uploaded, the stock price might fluctuate, but as of the time it's recording, the current stock ticker is showing Under Armour at $7.12 per share with a market cap of $3.02 billion, which, and again, let me see here. Now I'm kind of curious to pull up. If we pull up, let's see here, Nike stock, which again, kind of apples to oranges. Nike stock is $100.74 per share, market cap of, oh my gosh, $152.63 billion, and Nike pays dividends. Looks like the dividend yield is currently 1.47%. So you're not just having an incentive to purchase the stock, but to actually hold it, and you're rewarded, aka via dividends. So 152 billion versus 3 billion. So they are certainly obviously the underdog of the athletic apparel. Now that being said, back in my day as a youth in the sports balls, Under Armour's pretty well known. They're the cool brand. I mean, they basically perfected obviously the name comes from it, the Under Armour material for that little skinny shirt thing that you put on. So it's a wick away sweat or keep you hot in the winter. There are a myriad of applications, and that's what really put them on the map. And then later in life, I noticed that they made some good football cleats as well as a couple other things. So it'll be interesting to see what is Kevin going to do to help turn the company around. And again, going back to the stock, it's currently $7.12 per share. Looks like in the past month, it's down 14.36%. Past 6 months, down 3.98%. Year to date, and again, this isn't the direct it's not always a direct correlation. Again, there's some things the CEO can't control, but year to date, they are down 17.91%. Now, over the past year, it's down 14.47%, which is definitely not good news. Again, that's one of the major parameters that people look at in terms of the CEO's success. How is the stock doing? How's the public perceiving it? How's the sales going? So it'll be interesting to see. When asked for comment, Linares claims that they did some great things, and she felt honored to serve under Armour as CEO. And she said, actually, quote, "I am proud of our progress against our strategic plan, including strengthening our team, evolving our products and marketing, and increasing our focus on profitability," unquote. She also said, quote, "We have a strong foundation in place for future growth, and the company's potential is limitless. I will continue to root for Under Armour's success," unquote. Which, good, I guess that's a kind of a pretty good send-off, so to say. She's going to claim, now the company is set up for success because of her, maybe. But in all seriousness, I think a lot of these apparel companies where, again, no one needs a Nike shirt, no one needs an Under Armour shirt. A lot of it is considered luxury items. There's a lot of off-brand competition, especially these days, and especially counterfeit. That's a whole issue with the industry as a whole together. It'll be interesting to see how can they vet the economy. I mean, everyone's starting to tighten their belts. What kind of moves will they have to make, or what kind of moves will the founder coming back make that might make the company more profitable and actually more aggressive and eat up some more market share? Let me know, when's the last time you actually purchased an Under Armour product? Truth be told, the last time I got an Under Armour piece of material was the 3M Half Marathon in Austin, Texas. You get it's not free, you pay to run the race, but your entry fee does include some free swag, and usually you get a t-shirt. And I noticed that you did have the Under Armour logo. I think they consistently actually sponsor that event. But truth be told, I'm trying to remember the last time I actually purchased something as an individual item. It might have had to have been high school with I actually still have it, the white Under Armour shirt that I had for sports balls back in the day. Now granted, I'm not their key demographic when it comes to, athletic apparel and my gym clothes. Truth be told, most of those are from middle school and high school. They're pretty darn durable, but nevertheless, they need to find some more profitable customers than myself. It'll be interesting to see. Let me know, when's the last time you actually purchased an Under Armour apparel, and do you plan on actually going out and buying anything anytime soon? Other interesting business news, you have Family Dollar apparent to close 1,000 stores. Now, a lot of people, if you don't realize, Family Dollar is actually owned wholly by the Dollar Tree. So it's not a monopoly, but it's more of a duopoly. Because again, you have basically them versus Dollar General. Those are basically the biggest dollar stores. Now, thanks to government ineptitudes with inflation and taxes, it's not really a dollar in many cases. But nevertheless, this is first reported by USA Today, and they say that they were going to close many of their stores. Now, Dollar Tree announced that they will close nearly 1,000 of its Family Dollar stores after the sales experienced a significant underperformance in 2023. They noted that during the fourth quarter of 2023, Dollar Tree underwent a review of its store performance and identified locations to close, relocate, or rebanner. Now, when asked for comment, they say, quote, "As a result of this review, we plan to close approximately 600 Family Dollar stores in the first half of fiscal 2024. Additionally, approximately 370 Family Dollar and 30 Dollar Tree stores will close over the next several years at each store's at a current lease term," unquote. Now, when asked for comment, the CEO, Rick Dreeling, said, quote, "We finished this year strong with fourth quarter results reflective of positive traffic trends, market share gains, and adjusted margin improvement across both segments. While we are still in the early stages of our transformation journey, I am proud of what our team accomplished in 2023 and see a long runway of growth ahead of us as we look towards 2024. We are accelerating our multi-price rollout out at Dollar Tree and take decisive action to improve profitability and unlock value at Family Dollar," unquote. Now, again, I'm not, obviously, it's one of those things where, again, the US dollar is so worthless thanks to inflation. It's getting really hard for them to keep anything for $1. That's why, very controversially enough, I think it was it last year, a couple of years ago, they actually changed to $1.25 being the minimum price, which is quite detrimental if you rely on that. It's a huge increase in cost of goods if you're actually shopping there for daily foods and staples and things that you rely on. And it's also not great for marketing because, again, it's called the dollar store for a reason. It's supposed to be $1. Again, I understand the US dollar is junk these days. It's basically fiat currency. But again, they have a lot of things going up against them. And I was going to say, it's been a couple of years. Actually, I thought it was maybe 3 or 4 years ago. It looks like Dollar Tree actually acquired Family Dollar in 2015. And again, with that being said, and a lot of people don't realize Dollar Tree is a Fortune 200 company operating, get this, 16,777 stores across 48 states, as well as 5 Canadian provinces as of February 3rd. And granted, that's kind of funny. They actually have a specific name for that region. So they have Dollar Tree, Family Dollar, and Dollar Tree Canada, or some people might call it Canada. So it will be interesting to see what kind of moves they make. Again, inflation is really whittling away a lot of their margins. You also have a lot of the global tensions. A lot of the things are imported from other countries. So you have to worry about, again, a lot of people are starting to realize the good old cost of shipping things across the globe. There's a lot of geopolitical issues at the moment. A lot of pirates taking over ships, which, again, having a ship that's not armed is one of the most mentally vacuous things I could possibly think. But nevertheless, there are some businesses who decide to have their ships defenseless. And of course, there's probably some UN law just wants to, you can't defend yourself. What are you thinking? That's probably what they're saying, given the UN stance on human rights when it comes to firearms. So, again, those shipping costs have skyrocketed. We saw this during the lockdowns, during the pandemic. You had shipping containers go from like $2,000 a container to $14,000 per container, which again, that's a huge magnitude of cost. And again, these stores, they have to hit those price points in order to, the whole allure of the dollar store, the Family Dollar, is it's $1, or close to $1. Now, of course, a lot of the stores may overlap. A lot of them are close to another, and they might have a similar effect like the GameStop effect, where you have a store right across the street. So does it really make sense to have them so close to proximity when you're just cannibalizing sales? I can't help but think that's probably a contributing factor when it comes to these closings. And it'll be interesting to see. Of course, I think last time I went to the Dollar Tree, or what was it? Yeah, the Dollar Tree. There's like the $1 area of the store, then a $3 and a $5 area of the store, which shows you how crazy inflation has gotten. So it'll be interesting. It's fascinating to see that they could still stay in business and profitability, given all the things that are working against them. But it'll be interesting to see what the year brings for them. Let me know when's the last time you actually shopped at a Family Dollar or a Dollar Tree, and what did you purchase there? As always, it'll be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Now going over to the Culture Pod podcast, you have Dylan Mulvaney drops a song called Days of Girlhood. Now, for those who have been perhaps living under a rock, Dylan Mulvaney is a very famous trans activist who is paid $185,000 by Anheuser-Busch InBev to be a brand ambassador for Bud Light, in which Bud Light gave Dylan Mulvaney a can with Dylan's face on it, celebrating 365 days of womanhood, which helped make Dylan famous. Because, again, Dylan spent 365 days recording videos and portraying stereotypical things that women would do, such as, and get this right, actually, I fact-checked this. So Dylan had a video prancing through the forest wearing high heels and a dress. And I did ask my sister and my mom, and I said, hey, is this something women do? Do they do high heels prancing in the woods? And of course they said, no, absolutely not. Topping, don't you remember camping? We had shoes. We had regular clothing. I'm like, yeah, that's true, but I had to fact check. I had to. So that's what really put Dylan on the map, and brands were paying Dylan millions of dollars. I think, was it Maybelline? There's a makeup brand that gave Dylan, again, for the record, is a biological man, $1 million contract. And these companies were making profit from it. Now, the big thing that blew up in their face was Bud Light. Again, Bud Light paid Dylan Mulvaney $185,000 to lose $1.4 billion in sales, which is the biggest negative return on investment in business history, I think, when it comes to a marketing campaign that didn't actually put the company out of business. There have been, of course, marketing campaigns that have put the companies out of business. The Osborne effect is a fascinating computer use case where, again, they went out of business because they advertised at the wrong time with the wrong thing. But nevertheless, Dylan released this video a couple days ago, and as youth might say, it went viral, to say the least. Now, it's about 3 minutes and 40 seconds. If you want to watch the whole video uninterrupted, of course, you could just go on the Google or go on the YouTube, and you could filter, and you could watch it uninterrupted. However, wouldn't it be much more entertaining to have me interrupt it every 18 to 20 seconds with hilarious or interesting commentary? I mean, I might be biased, but I certainly think so. So we're going to go ahead and go to Dylan's YouTube page, and it looks like Dylan has 9.56 thousand subscribers, which is really not that much. I thought Dylan would have, again, on, I believe it's Instagram, Dylan has like 14 million subscribers. Now, not to brag, but I have 3,300 subscribers, which, again, if you have 1/4 of a second, if you can click that button, I would greatly appreciate it if you just subscribe to my channel. So this is Dylan's, and it says, official music video, has 1.2 thousand likes. However, it might just be a Chris Christie effect, a phenomenon in which you have zero positive results in the comments. We will, of course, evaluate them. But without further ado, Dylan is stepping out of a vintage Mustang, which, alright, it doesn't show if it has 3 pedals. I would be more impressed if it was a manual transmission and Dylan was shifting to start the music video. I know that's outdated, most people have automatic transmissions, but that would help give it a redeeming factor, but nevertheless. What? Dangerous activity, red flag. So jumps out of the car and kicks off high heels, which I thought it was dangerous to drive with high heels. So there's a myriad of red flags. That's number 1. Right. My ears, they hurt already. But nevertheless, cliche pop song intro. Dylan wearing a blue dress and a pink purse. Still no words yet. Someone's saying "uh-huh" in the, what do they call it, the auto tune. Terrible. They should have done code red for an emergency. If anything, you could have had a great product placement with PepsiCo and bring back Mountain Dew code red. So already a failed missed opportunity. Now you have Dylan sitting on the bed wearing women's lingerie with 2 other women. And the cliche Dylan Mulvaney smile. Which, again, I'm not sure what's more awkward of a smile. Dylan Mulvaney, Ron DeSantis, or myself. It'd be a very awkward and interesting competition. Inappropriate, Dylan. We know they should be at least 21 up if you're participating in alcoholic activities, though this is not the first time you've made that mistake. So this is going to tell us the basics of girlhood. Alright. Champagne? Really? After the Bud Light Business Blunder of the Year, I thought you would stick away from alcohol, but nevertheless. Missed the pregame. I suppose this is a collegiate activity. You're supposed to become inebriated before you go to the bars to save money. Alright. Actually, that's not... Let me rewind it for a second. That's actually not a female-exclusive thing. Back in the college days, I think many people are participating in that, and truth be told, probably a lot of young adults. That's not really a day of girlhood. That's kind of just all mankind, or perhaps mankind that enjoys becoming inebriated. Alright, so they're going to describe what hot girls do, apparently. Monday, you can't get out of bed. That is a medical condition, Dylan. You need to get out of bed. If you're in bed for a whole day, unless you are physically handicapped, like perhaps you have an injury from a hospital, or your injury that led you to hospital and you're at home recovering, if you're in bed the whole day, you should seek medical help. So Tuesday morning, take lots of meds. It is a whole cabinet. How many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, over 27 bottles of pills. And of course, there's a cliche orange bottle you get at the pharmacy. Is Dylan now proclaiming you should be taking lots of pharmaceutical pills? And also, don't see any official doctor script in terms of little print label that goes on. So perhaps these are aftermarket or street drugs. Also not appropriate. Retail therapy in this economy? I don't think so. We have unprecedented economical and political uncertainty. A lot of people are being laid off, and you're proclaiming retail therapy? Now, I will admit that is, I would guess, more often a women thing or a girl thing. If you look, although if you maybe on a frequency thing, but on an average, it'd be fascinating to do a business study. Do men spend more money on women than on extravagances or knickknacks? Truth be told, a lot of things I like to purchase are more durable products. But nevertheless, they're talking about retail therapy, which isn't a real thing. What? A walk of shame? Now, again, a woman of class wouldn't talk about a walk of shame. Walk of shame is when you have anonymous adult relations and then just walk home after. So Dylan is proclaiming that girlhood and women do the walk of shame. No. Women with class do not, in fact, do that. Didn't even know his name. Vacuous, that just seems insensitive. And don't you even know his name? Well, you might need to in order to know what kind of STDs you got from him. You'll overspend on Friday night? We just talked about the economy, Dylan. This is unprecedented economic uncertainty. People are losing their jobs left and right. I certainly would not recommend overspending. Wait, so Saturday you flirt for drinks? Again, a woman of class does not do that. You're basically, what, trading kisses for drinks? Flirting for drinks. Not appropriate. Not classy. Oh, the Twilight soundtrack. I'm not a humble brag, but I've never actually seen Twilight, though I've seen the parodies on the YouTube, so I kind of get the plot points. But yeah, of all the soundtracks to enjoy, yeah, no one would ever say Twilight soundtrack. I mean, no, absolutely not. I mean, there's so many better things out there. Okay, we see something. Well, maybe this is an inspirational video. Now, this is Dylan riding on the exercise bike. However, Dylan is exercising, so that is good. Americans definitely need exercise. Perhaps there's a modicum of good suggestion in the video. Nah, I might be overthinking it, but Dylan is thinking he's actually sitting in the exercise bike. However, the exercise bike has a fur seat, and Dylan is wearing not high heels, but platform shoes. Now, again, women and men should both exercise. We desperately need it in the United States, but you definitely don't do that on that machine. And that machine has a fur seat. So again, if you actually work out as intended, and as you should, you will actually sweat. Now, that would be not good for that as a kind of furry, feathery seat. All right. And it's by the pool outside. So again, unless the machine is properly lubricated and protected from the elements, it's going to rust. These are the days of girlhood. And again, days of womanhood might be more appropriate because half the song is about alcohol and adult concepts and themes, but this is about girlhood. So definitely not appropriate. These are the days. These are the days. These are the days of girlhood. Every day, it rises and shine. Now mine. Think of it, I'll be alright. Got my dolls by my side. These are very repetitive, but you'd be hard pressed to see what's the difference between this and a Taylor Swift music video. Well, at least the audio. We owe Rebecca Black an apology. I'm just saying. Terrible. You're promulgating cutting in line? Disgusting. A real man of character waits in line for his turn. You don't cut in line. Terrible behavior. Definitely nothing not supposed to teach children that. Because again, this is about days of girlhood, not womanhood. Now, he also has, it looks like a housewife cutting the hedges while wearing a dress. Now again, housework is great. Well, actually, yard work is great for men and women. Builds character, getting out in the sun. Now, she's not wearing any safety glasses, though she is, and no gloves, interestingly enough. So, totally unrealistic. If you're doing that all day, you're going to have some calluses, which I was going to say builds character in men and women, so I highly recommend it. And yet, she's just clipping it once or twice, so very unrealistic. However, don't worry, it's almost done. Now, I did consult many females when reviewing this video. In fact, most women do not dye their hair blonde. That is not an average daily activity. I thought it might be, but no, truth be told, that is also not a daily day of girlhood activity. So this is statistically speaking, not very accurate. Now again, Dylan Mulvaney is a biological man, but again, a trans activist, and again, that's actually a controversy in and of itself because Dylan did not have the surgery which some trans activists believe you do need necessary to perform that transition. And many people speculate, has Dylan taken pills? Or even in that community, there is controversy. Now, again, statistically speaking, men drink beer more than women. Just Googling or Brave searching, I said, how many, who drinks more beer? And on average, like within 30 days, about 60% of men will have a beer and 40-ish% of women will have a beer. Now, in this case, it'd probably be a Bud Light, but he's saying down with patriarchy and hold their beer. Now, realistically, it'd be much more probably perfect to say hold our wine or spritzer or what else do women drink? A cosmopolitan. Because again, on average, they drink more than men. I'm almost losing track of how many inaccurate things are in this music video. Also, for the record, again, not all bars are bad, but in terms of public safety, I wouldn't recommend giving your beer to a stranger because, truth be told, morally, mentally vacuous people might take advantage of you and insert something into that drink. So I don't recommend giving a random stranger to hold your beer. Definitely not smart or intelligent to do that. Hey, what's this? What's this? Replay the breakup? That just sounds like you're hurting yourself. Why do you want to relive that? Unless it's for lessons learned, which again, you can learn anything from most situations and grow and improve. So perhaps that is a semblance of a good idea, as long as you don't dwell on it too much. That's definitely not recommended. Your whole bed's going to be ruined, thereby creating more laundry and just a pain in the rear. Again, makeup is not easy to get out, I'm told. I'm trying to think. I mean, I'm sure you have to use some special chemicals or some type of extra applications to actually clean that. So definitely don't recommend falling asleep in your bed while wearing makeup. You're just asking for extra work. Boy toy. That's very pejorative for a man who apparently looks attractive but maybe might have a lot going on upstairs. I guess I have to clarify these days. That means, not a lot of mental intellectual stimulation. Truth be told, work upstairs. Back in my grandpa's day, they used to mean like cognitive abilities. But nevertheless, I would recommend if you want a long-term great relationship, you just definitely value their intellect and what they have on the inside as well. I want to promulgate what Dylan is saying, kind of stressing on that one thing. I almost forgot these are the days. I've only heard it 87 times. Well, I didn't really count, but many times. These are the days. These are the days of girlhood. Wait a minute. Do women... I should have asked my sister. I don't think this. I'll have to fact check this. I might be wrong, but I don't think women dance in high heels on the front lawn. Now, however, if they had spikes in the heels and they're actually aerating the front lawn, that might be a good idea. I think we might have a business proposition, actually. Front yard work music videos. So you have the gals dressed in high heels, or whatever they identify as high heels with the spikes on it, and you can actually aerate the grass. And certain time of the years, that is actually important. But I don't think this was a long pitch. This was just a music video. We might be I might be reading too much into it. Maybe, perhaps. It's a possibility. Every day. Well, I guess, all right. Every single day? Rise and shine. No, I mean, don't men do that? Every day, rise and shine. That's not very exclusive to Days of Girlhood. Now, truth be told, quite literally billions of people actually wake up every single day. Now, it is sad, unfortunately, not all of them wake up, but nevertheless, an overwhelming majority of society, men and women, do wake up, in fact, every day. Is it though? This picture is unrecognizable, almost spot on Taylor Swift. Sad by the piano, long hair, big earrings. It's almost done, I promise. Is that Lady Gaga? I can't tell.
Love ya.
That is brave. Telling the whole world that you love them. They might not like you back. Now, spoiler alert, in the comments, they don't. Now, in Dylan's defense, Dylan left the comments open, which was pretty brave given the cultural phenomenon. Because again, for many years, Dylan was extremely popular. Brands were giving this individual millions of dollars for advertising and marketing, and it worked for many of these brands. They were making more money because of Dylan's endorsements. Not all the time, and again, with the last Bud Light endorsement, that subsequently kind of put the kibosh on the income from that, and Dylan has subsequently tried stand-up comedy, speaking at colleges for, was it $35,000 or $40,000 per speech, and Dylan's trying to find Dylan's new niche. And I don't think music is it. Now, again, I think it has to do with, again, you're making a caricature of women, basically degrading them to these stereotypical or cliche acts, which, again, I don't think is actually accurate when it comes to describing women. And again, it went viral, but not for all the good reasons. Now, on YouTube, I'm actually shocked. Because again, when you look at what YouTube is promoting, and they use the algorithm to their benefits, you're going to see everything YouTube wants you to see. I mean, there's a reason. It's not just your input or just based on what you search for on your suggestions page. It's also things that YouTube is trying to promulgate, increase profitabilities, increase the reach of certain brands. I'm actually surprised this didn't get like 20 million hits. Just because, again, Dylan represents a lot of things that YouTube likes. And I'm surprised YouTube didn't want to promulgate this. Now, on YouTube, again, this only got 46,459 views. Which, again, is nothing for someone who's that famous and well-known. And in terms of the likes, this might be the worst like ratio ever. It got 1.2 thousand likes. Which is terrible to say the least. I wonder if you do YouTube downvoter viewer. Let's see here. Let's see. I'm curious. This is the first time using this specific website to try to see the YouTube downvoter. And again, YouTube took away that downvote indicator for many reasons. I can't help but think it's mostly politics. Because you look at certain politicians and they're getting ratioed, to say the least. Let me see here. Oh, of course, you need to set up an account. Let's see here. Views, likes. Yeah, so unfortunately this website is... let's see here. I mean, I'm going to guess it's negative 9,000 likes. Kind of being the feedback. So we'll look at the top responses on YouTube as well as we'll look at the X Twitter, where it also went very viral. It went actually more viral on Twitter than YouTube. Now, YouTube, one of the first comments comes from Live in His Way 83, says, quote, "When you order the new Taylor Swift music video from Wish," unquote, that got 232 likes. Bing Harmon Wajisuna says, quote, "Came here for the comments. I'll stop visiting this video when the comments are turned off. Shows up," unquote. Laughing emoji. I got 426 likes, which, again, I was shocked Dylan left the comments section open. Dylan didn't have to do that. That is, again, I know the word brave has been diluted and watered down so much, but I mean, Dylan had to have known, at least, this has almost devolved into a political issue, that about half the comments would be negative on average. Now, this is actually worse than half the comments. It's almost the Chris Christie effect, where you have basically no positive comments. Should be told that happened twice when you're covering Chris Christie on the show. There's 0 positive comments in his post. Now, Clara Glow says, quote, "If Peter Griffin wrote a song about women," unquote, getting 266 likes. Bread and Butter says, quote, "What bothers me most about the implication is that my days being female revolve around shopping, being socially irresponsible when it comes to sex and popping pills. If you want to get into more of a conspiracy, it sounds like patriarchal propaganda to me. Oh my, I'm rhyming. I guess anyone can write a song," unquote, getting 270 likes. Game Time with Jamie says, quote, "If Diarrhea had a song," getting 520 likes. I wonder who it is, says, quote, "This is exactly how women would be depicted from a man's point of view," unquote, getting 185 likes. Proud Patriot 1699 says, quote, "What the actual F," unquote, getting 275 likes. Mono Thanks says, quote, "I'm an Augo Genfile," should be the real title of this video, unquote, getting 259 upvotes. Green Thumb 7405 says, quote, "Dear Rebecca Black, I'm sorry," getting 762 likes. Muhammad Azir says, quote, "Peak Misogyny," getting 89 votes. Again, all these votes are upvotes or thumbs up. Lord Sable Share says, "The blackface of Modern Era," getting 312 upvotes or likes. Symphonist says, quote, 5K dislikes if anyone wants to know and counting." So 1K like, about 1K like, 5K down likes. As youth might say, that is ratio to say the least. We'll do 2 more before we go on the X Twitter. Vanessa says, quote, "Note to Dylan, not all women wear makeup. Not all women wear skirts or dresses. Not all women enjoy shopping. You don't get to speak on our behalf. You have no clue what it's like living as a woman. No clue," unquote, getting 271 likes. Becky Alice says, quote, "As a real woman, this is the most offensive shit I've ever seen," unquote. They got 507 likes. Let's see here. It looks like Go Dye Jewelry says, quote, not only is this musically distasteful, but the message is also sexist. Unquote, getting 211 likes. Eddie Likes says, quote, the fact that he is 27 and not 40 blows my mind, getting 109 likes. Ronnie Marketing says, you've got some balls putting this out, unquote, getting 30 likes. Aletha 23 says, quote, just here to enjoy how this video has united the world against this nonsense, unquote, getting 604 likes. Wild Texan says, this is a mockery of women, unquote, getting 535 likes. So that is quite ratioed, to say the least. Now, if we go to X Twitter, one of the first profiles to bring this up actually comes from End Wokeness, and Wokeness did a little 30-second clip, and Wokeness said, quote, Dylan Mulvaney just released a pop song about what it means to be a girl. No, this is not satire, unquote. I got 1.4 million views and 4.3 thousand likes. Now, one of the first comments on X Twitter is Paul Zuzupa saying, quote, the song is horrible, just like his attempt at comedy. Dylan's only talent is failure. He's good at that. Unquote, getting 133 likes. Anti-Woke Meme says, quote, Lexi Media reporting on this music, and is a screenshot that says, journalist after studying and going to school for years just to write the phrase, her testicles, unquote, getting 352 likes. Common Sense Prevails says, quote, a kind reminder to some and not a kind reminder to the woke, and is a picture of a woman crying. And the text says, quote, when your period is late because you're a born man, unquote, getting 327 likes. June Slater says, quote, try getting up first, packed lunches for hubby and kids, housework, a job, school run after school club, help your elderly parents, pay bills. There's more to bring a woman than hiding your cock in a frock, unquote. That got 618 likes. Conservative Mama says, quote, remarkable that the left has reduced being a woman to lipstick, high heels, and a skirt, unquote, getting 725 likes. Though she did also forget being promiscuous, shopping, as well as popping a whole cabinet full of pills. Like, no human has that many pills in their cabinet. Perhaps maybe a politician who's in their 90s. Like we said earlier, there's not 27 pills, there's 27 bottles plus in the medicine cabinet. Which I can only assume is also obtained illegally, because, again, there's no doctor scripts on the pill bottles. Nevertheless, you have Meme Bastard saying, quote, the only time I ever see Dylan is when people post his crap saying, look what he did today. If we all stopped, he would go away like many other online personalities, unquote, getting 341 likes. Gunther Eagleman says simply, and he's still a dude, unquote, getting 1,000 likes. Let's see here. Libercat Media TM says, good grief. And is a picture of the trans flag with the text on it saying, quote, trans women are men, getting 150 likes. Natalia Soria says, quote, reality is the best comedy, and is a picture of the iconic, what is it, the Star Trek little meme, and it says, okay, you're gay, who gives a shit, just be gay, and shut the F up, quote, getting 404 likes. Ryan Ferner says, quote, nah, this needs to be canceled, quote, getting 123 likes. Let's see here. Scrolling down, you have Hikus from Underground saying, quote, Eminem should release a song about what it's like to be black, unquote, getting 79 likes. So, of course, this was visually ratioed, to say the least. If I could snap, it usually helps. And it will be interesting to see, does Dylan try to put out a new music video? Seems like Dylan's trying to find the new thing, because stand-up comedy didn't work. Speaking at college campuses didn't really work. Well, charging, what was it, $35,000 or $40,000 per speaking engagement probably is a prudent idea. And yeah, I can't help but think, from a cultural perspective, a lot of people are starting to realize how sexist some of these things are. Because again, as we mentioned multiple times in this segment of the show, I mean, it's pretty pejorative to assume and say that all women do these things. Again, not all women are irresponsibly shopping out there. A lot of them are financially acute and studied, so they know, yeah, we probably shouldn't go on the retail therapy, especially in this economy. So it'll be interesting to see as we see this cultural phenomenon shift. Again, when Dylan first became famous, there's a lot of people who were protesting. There's a lot of people who were supporting Dylan. Again, $1 million brand endorsement deals. Businesses were throwing money at this individual. And yet we've seen that stop. And again, maybe from a cultural perspective, I think it's because less people support it. I think it's also being brought more to the cultural forefront. Where again, there's so many topics where people say, "Oh, that's not really happening. No, it can't be real." Oh no, it's all too real. Here's multiple examples in the real world. So I think that's one of the reasons we're seeing kind of the pendulum will swing back a little bit. But let me know, do you know anyone who authentically enjoys this song? I mean, it does have that cliche pop. It's almost as if it's written by AI. Because it sounds so familiar to every other pop song that's been written in the past 20 plus years. And again, I can't help but think Rebecca Black, again, she's not in music anymore. But, I mean, growing up, one of the biggest cliches or music videos that backfired was Friday, where it was just a whole song where Rebecca Black just talked about what a Friday is. And yet, that music video almost seems like a Bach or a Mozart symphony of genius in comparison. So it'll be interesting to see if there's any positive. Let me know have you seen any positive comments around this music video, because again, I was scrolling for quite some time and I haven't seen a single one. But as always, I would be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Other interesting cultural news, you have England banning puberty blockers for minors. Now this comes to us thanks to Libs of TikTok on X Twitter, and she says, quote, breaking England bans the use of puberty blockers for minors at gender clinics, unquote. Well, also including the clappy emoji and fire emoji. And it looks like this is a quick 47-second clip from Sky News, and truth be told, their voices are infinitely better than mine, so without further ado.
And let's just bring you a bit of breaking news which may be of interest to some of you. It's about puberty blockers. Now, these are drugs that are used to delay the changes of puberty in transgender youngsters. In terms of how they are prescribed by the NHS, there has been a lot of controversy over the last few years about this. At the moment, they are only prescribed to children attending gender identity services as part of clinical research, and they are not routinely offered to children at gender identity clinics, but they are still offered. Well, the government, NHS England, has just confirmed that children will no longer be prescribed puberty blockers at gender identity clinics. This is coming from NHS England. It just broke in the last few moments.
So perhaps some of the best news you could possibly hear in terms of if you're religiously affiliated or just, common sense, where again, there's no long-term studies on giving these drugs to kids. These drugs, one of them was made explicitly to neuter sex offenders. They're giving that same drug to children. I let that sink in. That's horrifying. Again, I'm not saying children shouldn't have counseling or they shouldn't talk about their emotions with someone. But again, it seems like we saw this with the ADHD thing where, again, not every kid has it. We saw the pendulum swing where there's an overprescription of that. They just diagnosed every kid who didn't want to pay attention to a boring teacher in public school prescription drugs, which again, some of them benefited from. However, I think a lot of the kids are just high energy and they just don't want to pay attention because it's not very interesting. It's not their core, there's not much. Again, some teachers are phenomenally great, but some are, boring and rudimentary at best. And I think from a cultural perspective, we will see this pendulum swing. And again, there are a lot of countries where it's still legal and they still do it. They even have places like Canada where if you refuse to transition your child, it's taken away from you, which we're actually seeing, I believe, also similarly in California. And we're seeing other states adopt similar government policies. And again, I think the biggest concern for a lot of people is we have no idea what long-term effects are of this. And we've seen it quite literally neuter children. And again, children aren't old enough to consent. So kind of a lot of my friends are libertarian. A lot of them are saying, hey, once you're 18, if you ask me, I'd say you're not really an adult until you're 26, because again, your whole mind, your brain is still developing. But I understand legally in the United States, from that perspective, you're 18. Well, I would say it's also morally vacuous for the United States to say, oh yeah, you're an adult at 18, but you also can't buy booze or a handgun. Seems morally vacuous, but nevertheless, I understand the legal delineation. We have to have an age that we choose for adulthood. And a lot of libertarian friends are saying, yeah, you know what? If you're an adult, do whatever the heck you want with your body. Now, I think the biggest point of concern is the children, who, again, they can't consent. There's a reason why kids can't get a tattoo. It's astonishing how many people say, well, tattoos, that's not okay, but you can have surgeries to remove body parts. But again, you're a kid, you have no idea what you want to do as an adult. Imagine having the operation, and then later in life you want a kid of your own, and you can't. And that's heartbreaking to say the least. And the studies have shown, in terms of people try to use this as a emotional blackmail, and they say, well, they might commit suicide. Well, the rates are the same regardless of transition. And also, if you use that argument every time your kid just says that, well, truth be told, the kid will do whatever they want because they'll just bring up that cliched argument every time. Again, I'm not saying you shouldn't listen to your kids, or you shouldn't, heed or, pay attention when they're using that threat. But again, it is, to me, personally, it's scary how many people are giving these drugs to these children when they don't know the long-term side effects. And in some cases, we have seen it permanently damage the children. So again, from a cultural perspective, this is gaining a lot of momentum. It's becoming a popular topic in the United States. There are parents who fully believe that their 6-year-old is smarter than an adult, and their 6-year-old can make decisions that will affect the rest of their life. And this isn't just one or two people. It's a huge cultural movement in the United States, but there are also a lot of people who are opposing it. So again, it is kind of devolved into a political issue, and not to be too cliche, but you have the left and you have the right, and you also have people who feel politically alienated in a lot of ways, like myself. And I think that will be one of the, maybe not top 10, but top 20 topics when it comes to the presidential election in the United States in the near future. But again, I think a lot of people are just concerned, well, no one has any ideas. So I think maybe you'll see some states, because again, we have seen some states in the U.S. pass laws preventing these procedure. I mean, Joseph Mengele, which calls it a procedure, most people call it butchery, but they would put a halt to these prescription pills and these actual surgeries. But again, some states are actually glorifying it. So let's go in the comments and see what the general consensus. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe everyone is saying this is evil. We should definitely allow this. I mean, probably not, but let's dive and find out. Again, this got 1.9 million views and 24,000 likes on X, Twitter, via libs of TikTok. The first comments comes from Paul Zupa saying, quote, "One small step in the right direction. Now these puberty blockers need to be blocked in every country," unquote, getting 235 likes. You have Trump's burger, which interestingly enough is a picture of Donald Trump with 2 hamburgers, and there's a hamburger emoji in the name. So I guess A+ marketing, you know exactly what it is. Although I don't think burgers can type, so we'll say it's a alleged burger. And it says, "Is there a conservative government in the UK?" And there's a picture of the guy in the jacket saying, no, and then yeah. And it says leftists be like, and it's the no to the nuclear family, but yeah to the nuclear war. That got 208 likes, which is also fascinating to see the people who used to be very promulgating anti-war, now very much pro-war. You have Branos saying, quote, "I can't believe England did this before the U.S. and is the boyfriend looking at the hotter girl cliche meme picture, and the England is looking at a brain, and the jealous girlfriend is the trans flag." That got 267 likes. Valentin Gomez says, quote, "Amazing news. Doctors that prescribe these drugs and do the surgery should be arrested," unquote, getting 366 likes. Which, I was going to say, A+ for marketing. Just from her ex-Twitter, I know she's running for a position in the U.S. government, I believe as a senator or congressman. But she's being very active in these, and I think as this cultural and political topic becomes more and more important, people are going to vote for her yes and no because of her stance on that. You also have Adam Brooks saying, quote, "Should have never been a thing," and quoting 329 likes. Amanda Akubin says, quote, "Huge win," getting 122 likes. Women Exist, Canadian flag, female emoji, all in the name. Though interestingly enough, the profile picture is in fact of a dolphin, or a whale rather, but nevertheless, this woman exists as, quote, "There's no such thing as a transgender children. No human can transcend his or her immutable sex," unquote, getting 288 likes. You also have Bruce Ballou saying, quote, "The United States won't do it. It's because our politicians are in bed with Big Pharma and Big Medical," unquote, getting 101 likes. One Bad Dude says, quote, "The world is waking up from the nightmare that liberals have created," getting 99 likes. Let's see here. The Question S says, quote, "A lot of hurt children were saved today," getting 26 likes. Tactical Gamer says, quote, "How is England ahead of us? Makes me crave some tea, just a little," unquote, getting 43 likes. Oscar Herrera says, quote, "More of this is needed in the USA. We need to protect minors. They are too young, and many of them don't know what they're getting into," unquote, getting 54 likes. Which, again, that's why you don't allow children to make long-term decisions. You're supposed to be a parent and guide them, not have them tell you what to do. Though don't get me started on the state of parenting in the United States these days. That's a whole cultural miss or degradation in and of itself. Planet Memes says, quote, best news ever. This needs to go global, unquote, getting 51 likes. And again, it is quite literally $1 billion industry. So it's going to be prohibitively, I think that's going to be one of the issues in terms of, or one of the obstacles to overcome if they wanted to actually get this banned more in the United States. Because again, the pharmaceutical industry has created an entirely new product to push. And once you go down the path of transitioning, is a lifetime customer. They need to have repeat visits multiple times. Not just for drugs, but also tweaks in the surgeries. They are creating a long-term, what's the name? I'm trying to think of, there's a specific word I'm looking for that was eluding me at the moment, but they have a long-term returning customer. Scrolling down, let's see here. Janice says, quote, that's how every one of us should feel about this, protecting children. And it's a picture of a little girl with 2 dogs. You know, she has the, what do you call it, the dog leash, but the dogs are barking and protecting her. They got 32 likes. Now, I'm actually surprised. Again, I try to follow a lot of people in the left, the middle, and the right on social media, so we get some contrarian or get some interesting viewpoints every time. It's not just a cliche, echo chamber, so to say. But again, I'm scrolling down pretty darn hard, and I'm not seeing any contrarian statements or opinions. Let's see. England bans trans drugs. If I just search that and see if there's anyone who has... Because again, there are some people who believe in this, and there are a couple of groups on Twitter that are for trans rights, and they see this topic being, their rights being taken away. So there are millions of people who do agree with puberty blockers. I mean, there's a reason it exists. It's not just because it came out of nowhere. Now, granted, a lot of that is also, I would argue, a cultural phenomenon. Let's see here. But I did a search. England bans. If I just say England bans drugs, because I'm trying to find some of the arguments of people who would be against this. Let's see here. Do one more search on Twitter. They need to somehow increase the proficiencies of their search engine. Bans trans. Although one of the biggest issues is the human error in IT and in life, and it could be just me not doing the right or inputting the right questions. Let's see. So if we do England bans puberty blockers, we should get some results. Let's see. The first one, Marjorie Taylor Greene responded or posted about it. Let's see here. Will the US do the same? I'm trying to see if there's anyone who agrees with it, so you can get a little bit extra viewpoints. Breitbart simply cheering and saying victory, getting 279 likes. You have leading report saying England bans puberty blockers for minors outside of regulated clinical trials, getting 2.2k likes. Which again, based on the vernacular, it kind of sounds like they're still doing, because they say they're banning it for outside of regulated clinical trials. So again, it's still kind of hard, I guess from my perspective, heartbreaking that some children are going through those trials and they'll permanently not be able to have kids themselves if they choose to later in life. So I'm trying to see, Andy No, Breitbart. Let's see here. Wow, a lot of people, it's just overwhelming applauding it. I'm trying to give some contrarian, viewpoints and make it a little more interesting. Because again, there are millions of people who do promulgate and believe in this, but for the life of me, I'm not seeing it on social media at the moment. So again, if you have any arguments, or be fascinated to hear, what your opinion is. Are you seeing anecdotally, like in your circle of friends or your social media feeds, do you see a lot of people who are opposing this news, and maybe they're going to have a petition or get some, or vote someone else in office to change the laws and make it available for every single children again? I mean, as always, I'd be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Now going over to the political part of the podcast, you have Vivek on the TikTok ban being a Trojan horse. Now, Vivek over on X Twitter says, quote, if you're worried about Biden censoring the speech of his political opponents, it's not a good idea to give him even greater executive authority to do more of it in the name of national security, unquote. And it looks like they got a little over 400,000 views, but only 16,000 likes. This is one of the most hot topics when it comes to, you see a delineation or divide in the Republican Party or the GOP, whatever you want to call it these days. But a lot of people are saying just ban it outright. A lot of people are saying, well, is it because Vivek and Trump allegedly have some financial gain, or they have some friends who are associated with financial gain of ByteDance, the parent company behind TikTok? And Thomas Massey, so Vivek is responding to Thomas Massey's post. Thomas Massey said, quote, "The so-called TikTok ban is a Trojan horse. The president will be given power to ban websites, not just apps. The person breaking the new law is deemed to be the U.S. or offshore internet hosting service or app service, not just a foreign adversary," which is quite concerning to say the least. And again, when it comes to, Thomas Massey went viral to say the least. He got 16.3 million views and 33,000 likes from his original post. And again, once you give the government power, they basically never willingly give it up. And more often than not, I would argue, over time, both left and right, people in power, abuse the power. So again, this could be the slippery slope that just lets the government ban every app. That's the big downside that this could be. And I'm not sure how you could have the vernacular be so specific. Now, again, if our government was actually working well, be one of those instances, be much more articulate in the wording of all these bills, though I suspect they also want to give themselves unlimited power, so they keep everything very vague and broad. But I think this might be one of the most divisive stances that Trump and Vivek have taken in the past 6 months when it comes to the general consensus of the GOP for this particular topic. Because again, a lot of people are saying there's not a lot of upside to this product. It's basically Chinese spyware. It makes kids dumber and more mentally ill in the United States. It glorifies things we don't want. Is very little benefit, especially for kids. Now, on the other side, you have millions of businesses that utilize it to increase their sales. One of the reasons the Stanley Cups flew off the shelves, with women paying everywhere from $40 to $50 to $300 to $400 for a little thermos, though it is pink with a Starbucks little font script on it. One of the reasons it went so viral is because of TikTok. It's enormously addictive, and it helps businesses increase their sales by having products and services go viral. Now, going to the comments, let's see. You have Trump's Burger saying, quote, "Don't forget our founding fathers gave us the First Amendment," unquote, getting 32 likes. Liberocrat Media TM says, quote, "So basically," in this whole room of NPCs, and it says, "Free speech is dangerous unless liberals control it," unquote, getting 33 likes. Liberocrat Media TM also says, "The left doesn't care. They want to censor everything and anything they disagree with or that hurts their feelings," unquote, getting 18 likes. Dave Benner, nemesis of neocons, says, quote, "Absolutely, we cannot." What? Well, I thought perhaps he has a grammatical error. However, it's just my speaking ineptitudes and how I was attempting to read it. Now, I do have a theory. When I first started the show, I had a lot of grammar errors. I stumbled over my words. I spoke way too fast, even faster than now, believe it or not. But as the subscriber count has increased, I've become a little bit better at my speaking proficiency. Some might argue some modicum of improvement, barely at all, but I think it is a little bit of improvement. So if you could click that button, the subscribe button specifically, or if you already subscribed, appreciate it. I greatly appreciate it because I think it is increasing my speaking abilities and decreasing the speaking ineptitudes. Let's find out if that theory is true together. Now, again, my attempted speech with Dave Benner, nemesis of neocons, he says, quote, "Absolutely, we cannot this Trojan horse legislation to lay the groundwork for the regulation of the internet and the erasure of dissident websites," unquote, getting 18 likes. Zeno says, quote, "Ah, yes, the good old pastime of the U.S. government, sacrificing freedoms for security," unquote, getting 21 likes. And spoiler alert, this already passed. Was it the House or the Senate? And it goes over, let's see here, TikTok ban passed. I believe it passed the Senate and then goes to the House. Let's see here. House passes. Yeah, so the House passed the TikTok bill. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in the Senate. Granted, most likely than not, Biden is going to sign off on it. And of course, it'll be interesting to see what kind of lawsuits are brought forward with, of course, the First Amendment. You also have a couple more comments. You have, many comments, but here are the top ones. You have Just Some Lady saying, quote, "Do not rush any bills through, especially when it's a First Amendment issue, and especially during an election year," unquote, getting 7 likes. Final Cut Michigan says, quote, "This government will stop at nothing in its quest for more power. The sooner we realize this and stop funding them, the easier the fight will be," unquote, getting 5 likes. So let's see. Just Travis Cook says, quote, "True, give him an inch and he will take a mile, as all politicians would do. How would we keep this action to just TikTok then? Something has to be done," unquote, getting 4 likes. So I'm scrolling more and more. I'm actually pretty surprised. I thought there would be more contrarian statements or people trying to ratio Vivek. Interestingly enough, it looks like overwhelming support for Vivek's take on this particular opinion or particular topic with his opinion. And it will be interesting to see because, again, giving the government any power I'm always pretty skeptical of. For the specific app of TikTok, I don't see much benefit in terms of, I don't see much benefit of any kid being on any social media these days, whether it's TikTok, Facebook, or X, Twitter. It'll be interesting to see what the long-term results is or what kind of lawsuits are filed or how this gets done. What do you think? Do you think we should give the government the power to just ban any app they want? Do you think there should be some vernacular where we somewhat try to limit it to this, knowing that they might just use it as precedent later, or they might just try to expand it? As always, it'll be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the business blunder of the day, you have Family Dollar paying a fine for rat-infested warehouses. And, spoiler alert, they were not little fun, cute, stuffed Mickey Mouse toys. They were, in fact, the bad types of rats. Now, this comes to us thanks to Jonathan Limehouse at USA Today. And they say, quote, "Family Dollar rat-infested warehouse damaged products lead to a $41.6 million fine." Which is preposterously high, to say the least. You couldn't pay $18 for a Terminator. Granted, our Schwarzenegger's bill is probably much higher than that. You might have to get an off-brand one and get an Exterminator, but nevertheless, that would work too. Now, it looks like this fine is for storing food, cosmetics, drugs, and medical devices in rat-infested warehouses in Arkansas for years, this according to recent court records. Now, they noted that Dollar Tree-owned discount chain took a plea agreement last week on Monday in the Eastern District of Arkansas after being charged with one misdemeanor count of debasing FDA-regulated products by holding them in unsanitary conditions, according, again, to the court documents. They note that by accepting the plea, the company admitted to shipping products until January 2022 from its Arkansas distribution center, where FDA found evidence of live rodents, dead decaying rodents, rodent feces, and urine, and also evidence of gnawing and nesting. Now, they also know that a fumigation of the facility resulted in the extermination of, oh my gosh, this is a lot of rats. Almost as much as the ones in D.C. Political pun. But nevertheless, they exterminated 1,270 rats. Which, oh my gosh, at what point do you just tear down the warehouse and start from scratch? Now, when asked for comment, you had Dollar Tree Chairman and CEO Rick Dreeling saying, quote, "Having reached a full resolution with the Department of Justice, we are continuing to move forward on our business transformation, safety procedures, and compliance initiatives," unquote. He continued saying, quote, "When I joined Dollar Tree's board of directors in March 2022, I was very disappointed to learn about these unacceptable issues at one of Family Dollar's facilities. Since that time, and even more directly as I am assumed the role of CEO, we have worked diligently to help Family Dollar resolve this historic matter and significantly enhance our policies, procedures, and physical facilities to ensure it's not repeated," unquote. Now it looks like the pest problems were first discovered in 2020. And the downside is, well, I guess the upside is if you're in Texas, it's going to affect their supply chain and affect your stores. Now, they know that the warehouse had shipped to more than 400 Family Dollar stores in Alabama, Missouri, Mississippi, Louisiana, Arkansas, and Tennessee. Now, they also note that certain stores even reported receiving rodents and rodent damaged products through deliveries from the distribution center by the end of 2020, according to the documents. So, not great news to say the least. Especially because, again, some of these things are medical devices. Some of these things are actual drugs and pharmaceuticals that people need. And again, I mean, they're working with razor-thin margins for a lot of these products. They're going to sell a lot of products to make up for this lost revenue. Again, it's $41.6 million for that fine. Again, they're still a multi-billion-dollar company, but still, that's not going to be happy for the shareholders. That's not going to be happy for employees. And again, it's not going to be good for the brand. Because again, it's always kind of cliche. They have products in the aisles. It's usually a little disorganized, but I mean, there's certain things that people really don't like to tolerate, and having bad cosmetics. Well, I guess in this case, pun rightly intended. Some of the cosmetics were hit as well with rats, But unsanitary conditions and all those devices being damaged, that brand damage is going to hurt them quite a little bit. Now, granted, there's only really one other competitor, Dollar General, but nevertheless, damaging a brand as well as getting to the point where you have a $41.6 million fine, that certainly has to be the business blunder of the day. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in. Again, I'm trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month, so if you can click that button, I greatly appreciate it. Also, leave me a thumbs up, thumbs down, or comment. It's a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take the time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe and fight the good fight.